my overhead's 40 to 50 an hour.
Yeah. So there's a six-figure life in that.
I can clear $150 an hour pretty regularly.
Yeah, see? You're not working as an engineer.
I'm not.
You're not stuck behind a desk.
I'm not.
You're not inspecting on nuclear reactors.
I'm not.
But you're happy running a small fabricating business, making really cool little things out of sheet metal.
I like what I do. I like the size we are. I don't have to manage that many people. I'm happy with it, and it's paying the bills.
I've got Richard Day here today, and we're going to be talking about, as we have before and as we will again, how to choose a trade. Because it might be, as you're thinking about what you're going to do when you grow up, you might choose a trade. A blue-collar life, in many ways, is a great life. And Richard is an example of somebody that's come to blue-collar from a varied and unexpected background. Have I got that about right?
A long way around.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel, 42Fab. He's got a website, weldityourselfkits.com, and by the end of this, you're going to understand what this pile of metal is on this desk, and maybe you're going to need some of it in your shop. Richard, I got some questions for you.
Hit me.
All right. So what kind of work are you doing now? With the preface being, what kind of work did you do starting at about 13 when you were a kid and wanting to do stuff? Where did you live? And give us the short version of how you ended up as a fabricator.
Okay, I'll condense it. I was always a kid building forts. I was always the kid digging holes, working my hands dirty. I wasn't in a family that supported that, so it was always something I did on the side, and did what you were supposed to do. Went to college, got the degree.
Okay, we're going to drill a little tighter on that. He got an engineering credential. Okay, an engineering credential is hard, and it's something that I've always coveted, and you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
I didn't finish everything for it.
But you got the education.
Yeah, I got there.
You got the credential.
Yeah. I figured out that it wasn't where I needed to be.
So you got out of school in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And you got a job where?
Dallas,
Fort Worth. And you got behind a desk. For how long did you last behind a desk?
About 9 months.
9 months? Yeah. And you said, man, I got to get these hands.
I can't do it.
I got to do some stuff. Yeah. All right, but you had done some stuff, right? You said you worked for a roofer for a while and a tile setter. And
yeah, all through school, I didn't want to do debt. So I was there for 6 years, paying as I go.
Hold that. You hear the brilliance there? School is great. And maybe you could become an engineer too, but avoid the debt, right?
Yeah.
It's slavery.
Yeah.
And so you worked your way through school.
Yeah, I got some scholarships and all that too. But I worked my way through school. And I would take, when I had lighter semesters, I would take any job I could that I could learn something from. And I worked with a tile crew for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We did the whole locker room at OSU for the volleyball team.
Okay.
I worked with a roofing crew.
When you said OSU, I thought Oregon State, but this is Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
All right.
Cowboys. Roofing, did tile, did some framing, did some remodeling.
But as a kid, digging holes and building forts, it was kind of like back to your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's fun. You go home tired. You can
go home
sleep.
tired, yeah.
So
makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does for me.
Makes a big difference. But you got the credential. What part of getting that degree did you enjoy, as far as classes and the knowledge? And because for a guy who liked to work with his hands, you must have saw the power of mathematics.
Yeah, the math. I kind of say it takes some of the magic out of it, because you start to understand how things work just by the numbers. Yeah. It's like math is life's big cheat code.
Yeah.
That's one I've heard before.
Yeah. So but it is power.
Yeah, there's some truth to it. You can figure out, I know how to figure out what size I-beam might need for something, not just take a guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
And you get the intuitive just understanding.
Yeah.
And you're going to get that working in the field too.
Yeah, but it's nice to be able to prove it to you and someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you had facility with computers and spreadsheets and that.
Yeah. CAD.
Man. So I'm envying you this. This is a big deal. So 9 months in, you realize I just can't keep sitting behind this desk.
Yeah.
Then what?
I had welded some in college and decided to give that a go.
So you liked welding in college?
I did. And I don't know, I like metal more than I like wood.
Yeah.
I've done some woodworking.
Yeah.
And just decided I'd try and give that a go. Yeah. And 11 years later,
you're
still giving it a go.
So he pointed out something that I have known and thought about, but he drilled down on it hard, that there's a big difference between a welder and a fabricator. Talk to us about the difference, because you guys might be thinking about welding. or you might be thinking about fabricating, or you might be thinking they're the same thing. Tell us how were they related and how they're different.
Yeah, if I get called a welder, I'm not offended, but I will normally correct people because there's hundreds of people out there that can out-weld me. But I'll hold my own fabricating.
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter if you're working in wood or metal or even plastics. It's kind of all the same skills. You're just going to get better at your particular material.
Yeah.
But it's keeping track of numbers. It's making sure things are going to go together. It's doing things in the right order. It's figuring out the efficiencies if you're making 20 of something.
Spatial perception and proportion and staging your work and sequencing your work. It's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But welding is the ability to focus your attention on one little spot and keep your attention there and make it perfect all the way around.
Yeah. I mean, in an average day, I might only have the arc lit for 10 or 15 minutes if you were to add it all up. You know, I'm cutting, I'm grinding, I'm cleaning, I'm clamping, I'm jigging, I'm setting everything up.
You're measuring, you're
in
marking.
order to do the weld.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and I'm not talking down to pipeline welders or any, you know, that's hard work, especially 120-degree summer days.
And it's technical, jigging that stuff up and bringing those bends and making the good fit up and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's the fabricating and the welding are very different as far as the skills you have to bring to it, but
they complement each other.
They do.
They each have to have the other.
Yeah, you weld to fabricate.
Yeah. Given the fact that you've never gone to work as a welder,
correct.
do you have any? You've hired assistants and interns and people to fabricate.
Yeah.
And in the Oklahoma area,
Yeah.
what does a welder make in Oklahoma?
Depends what kind of welding you want to do, but if you're going to be out in the field, you're towards six figures.
Towards
just
six figures.
over six figures, depending on what you're doing, what crew you're with. You know.
So break it down on an hourly basis. You're $60 plus.
Somewhere in there at the high end, and there's people who are going even higher than that if you're doing something specialty or running your own crew and all that.
Yeah.
Somebody just welding in a shop making widgets every day, 15 to 20 to start.
15 to 20 on a shop floor doing the welds and the fabricating.
Yeah.
But out a pipeline welder or something, welding stainless or bridges or structural.
Yeah. The more specific you get, in the niches are the riches.
Yeah. In the niches are the riches.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? If you can specialize, so everybody coming into any job market has got thousands or hundreds of thousands of people they're competing with.
Yeah.
Fair enough? You got to do something to set yourself apart from all that competition, and niches can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so a welder makes from $15 an hour, just entry level on a shop floor in a shop doing the same thing over and over and over, to six figures if you're out on a pipeline or pressure vessels or something, working on a nuclear reactor or something where every weld is x-rayed, all of that.
Double that underwater welding.
Underwater, man, I always thought that would have been cool. You ever watch those videos?
I went to one of the trainings.
Did you?
Yeah.
You went down and tried to run some 60-10 or whatever they used?
I welded up one of my kits underwater.
Holy smokes.
I'll get you the B-roll.
Yeah, I bet it wasn't as pretty as when you're running
It
with
was
the
not.
big gun.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was
How
bad.
do you see through the steam? I mean, it's just a massive steam.
I got underneath it and kind of looked up.
You looked at the bottom of the pool. Were you running it downhill or pushing it up?
Either one.
Either
'cause
one.
It's the bubbles,
Bubbles
more than
go up.
anything else that's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's real money in that.
Yeah.
Okay, there's money.
Yeah. Real danger too.
Real danger. You got to pay like anything. You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
So a welder, $15 an hour to $200 an hour, or who knows what underwater. Fabricators, different, three-dimensional thinking, structural thinking, spatial awareness. What do those guys make?
So I start my guys, and Oklahoma's a little bit cheaper to live in than the coast of the country, but I start my guys at $15 an hour, and then I have 5 $1 escalators. And
Okay.
if you can do anything, you'll be at 20 in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right.
But so 15 to 20 is about what you're going to see.
That's about it.
Maybe a little bit more.
And the
in
big
that-
trailer manufacturing plants and stuff, it's that or less probably.
Yeah, some of them are less than 15.
Yeah,
But
pretty rough.
You're just doing the same thing every day, and you're a monkey with a torch. So.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if you do a realistic self-assessment and realize, I could do that, and then opportunity for self-employment as part of that picture, right?
Yeah.
And the self-employment, the ceiling on that is just about what kind of marketing. I mean, what's the potential for self-employment?
Well,
with
I mean,
that?
Oklahoma City's, like I said, a little cheaper, and we're $150 to $200 an hour, depending on what we're doing.
Okay,
And
shop rate.
Yeah, versus mobile.
Yeah, yeah.
And my overhead's 40 to 50 an hour.
Yeah. So there's a six-figure life in that.
I can clear $150 an hour pretty regularly.
Yeah, see? So it's not so much about the skill, it's about how you apply the skill in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. You have ended up you're telling me you're a fabricator, but what you are is a businessman. You're an innovator and a businessman, right? And you happen to apply your business interest to fabricating.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Knew I needed to be working for myself.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at taking the advice that I'm probably going to end up giving here in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, that's worthwhile too. You recognize that in yourself. You'd invested in this engineering credential, you realize, wait, I've got to do my own thing.
If I can see what I think is a better way to do it, I at least have to figure out if I was right or wrong.
So the people are looking at us and they're looking at this pile of stuff and they're wondering what it is, but let me ask you this. What does a day in the life of a fabricator look like? And how did your experience as a fabricator lead you to shipping? Did you say 100 tons of this stuff a year?
100,000 pounds.
100,000, yeah, 50, yeah, that's a lot.
Tons, yeah.
That's a lot when it comes 2 pounds at a time. So what's a day in the life of a fabricator look like? And then give us the sequence of how you have come to emphasize weld it yourself kits.
Okay. I started out doing furniture, and that's,
Furniture.
rectangles. Eventually you graduate to circles and abstract shapes. And as your skill improves and you can make things line up and make things square, you can start stepping up that way. And then I had access to a CNC plasma table.
Do you guys know what a CNC plasma table is? We're going to have some B-roll of that running right now. And it's a computer in control of a plasma cutter, and it'll cut the most amazing shapes. Have I got that right?
It's a poor man's laser.
A poor man's laser, yeah.
So it's not as accurate, but it's much cheaper.
Pretty accurate.
And faster.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah. You had access to one.
Yeah, I had access to one of those and started doing some signage work.
Okay.
Businesses, neighborhood entryways, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
decorative.
And then I started adding lighting into it and really kind of the value add. So a lot of what I do is thinner material, and I do miss that with welding when I get a chance to work on something heavy. It's
heavy
really
section,
nice.
man.
It's nice to lay 200 amps into something instead of be running it, 60.
Spray if you can.
Signage was a big thing, but if you're going to put a full sheet of metal up on a plasma table, they're 4x8, 4x10. A lot of signs are 18-inch by 8 feet. That's a real common size. And so you're going to end up with a 1 foot wide strip at the end. I can't use it for another sign. I don't want to have to just store it somewhere. So I started coming up with ideas that I could cut out of those extra pieces.
Okay, out of the drops, the throwaway,
I'd
value added.
I'd rather get more than 7 cents a pound for them.
Yeah.
And
wait, 7 cents a pound is scrap price. That's what you get when you take it back to the steel recyclers and they weigh a truckload and you get $40. You don't want to do that.
No. So we started out, the first thing was a rocket stove.
I saw one of those at the Good of the Land Festival.
Yeah, I was making them there.
Yeah.
Or letting people make them.
Yeah.
And it is, the first year we had 2 products, the second year 8, then 20, and now we're up to 200.
200 different products.
Something like that, yeah.
So you're not making as many signs now, you're making products.
We still do signs, but I get to only do the ones I want to do.
Yeah.
The ones that are real cool or going to be in an interesting place or just for whatever reason jump out at me. We're not doing the just factory line pumping them out like we used to.
That feels good, doesn't it?
I miss it every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to just kill a day full of work and get that sense of satisfaction at the end.
Yeah.
This is a little bit delayed now.
Yeah, you got the
we
people
make
got to
them,
pay.
they sit on a shelf.
You got to put them in cardboard boxes, you ship them out.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, but a day in the life of a fabricator, what is that like? You get up, you turn on the shop light. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, we're going to come in, get going with the day, anything that needs cleaning, getting ready. For us, we ship orders first thing in the morning. Then you're going to be looking at your drawings, or if you're me, you're going to be the one making the drawings up and starting to measure, starting to cut, starting to prep all your material, and it's very batch-wise. You're gonna do all your cutting, then do all your prepping, then set jigs up, then build what you need to build.
It's manufacturing.
It is. It's custom manufacturing.
Custom manufacturing. Interesting. And that's absorbing, isn't it, to develop the most efficient process?
Yeah, it's really nice when you did something the wrong way. And then you're like, all right, we're going to do it this way next
Okay,
time. And
this is
or-
7 cents a pound material.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Prototyping.
Or it just took a lot longer than it needed
Yeah.
to. So.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So let's talk about the people that you have had come in and help you and the characteristics of someone. If they're thinking they want to be a fabricator, they like 3-dimension, they don't want to just be burning rod,
Yep.
even though that may pay like crazy, they want to figure some stuff out. What are some of the characteristics or education or tools that that person might want to have when they show up on that first day?
Yeah. In my shop, you're not going to show up with tools except steel toes and, good cotton pants, cotton shirt. So nothing's going to melt to you if you get hit. We provide all of that, and I'd rather have you using stuff I know isn't going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But you're an employee, not a contractor, so
Right.
you're not carrying your own
They bring a
tools
tape
around.
measure,
If they want to.
but they're your tapes.
Yeah, if they want to bring a tape measure.
Your
they can.
soapstone, your blue streak,
Yeah,
your market.
we give everybody a set of isotunes. So they've got hearing protection, they can listen to music.
Wow.
We've got all the stuff we need there just so that my insurance is happy.
Yeah, okay. Ideally, what kind of education or experience, first education or experience, and then mindset, an
Okay,
ideal fabricator in your shop?
So somebody coming in green without a lot of fabrication experience, know your way around basic math. I mean, we're not doing calculus, but
Right.
you got to be able to keep some numbers in your head. You got to be able to divide in half,
Yeah,
quarters.
yeah.
You got to understand how to read a tape measure, understand how to read drawings.
They don't have to be have an architect's understanding
Yeah.
of reading drawings, but you got to be able to convert something on a sheet to something in your head,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and just ask questions. One of the biggest ones I've had from people that come in, interns or hired, is they want to ask questions. They don't want to look dumb.
Oh,
And you tell them over and over and over, I'm more proud of you for asking a question than doing it wrong.
Amen.
And when you do it wrong, you're probably going to cost me money too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
ask the question.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Did you hear that? And let me expand that one step further. The most damaging thing you can do to your future in any job, and especially the trades, is if someone who knows something tells you how to do something, you never say, I know. You say, oh, thank you, or okay, or I'll try. I mean, is that about right?
Yeah, or watch me and tell me if I'm doing it wrong.
Right,
Or
like
if I
that.
could do it better.
Right.
Yeah.
About the third time somebody says, I know, you just say, well, I'm done investing in that
Yeah.
person. All right.
Let them make their mistakes.
Let them make their mistakes, and finally, I'll just have to send them down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
But I will add on to that for the young
Please,
people.
please.
Show up on time
Oh, man.
and sober.
On time.
It is amazing. 10 years in, I am still blown away that I can't get people to show up on time and sober. Reliably.
Oh, gosh.
And
So-
that is,
So we were talking about the competition. You can distance yourself from the competition by being on time and sober.
you're in the top 20% if you're 5 minutes early and sober.
Oh, my gosh. Now, you hear that? On time does not mean that you open the shop door at 8 o'clock. That's not on time. You open the shop door at 5 minutes till, so when 8 o'clock comes, you got your glasses
Yeah.
on, you got your gloves on.
Stuff's all put down, you're ready to go, you got
Yeah.
your music playing. And if you're in a good environment, I don't care if you listen to music, we have a really relaxed environment. Let schedules change as they need to, all of that. But if you say you're going to be here at 8, be here at 8.
Be there at 8.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about hazards and the physical cost of welding and fabrication. What are the hazards?
I mean, injury. That's
Sure.
That's one. I've never really. I stuck a MIG wire into my thigh once with a hot
Sure.
BB on the end of it. I've clipped myself with a table saw.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all that's happened to me. But you just have to be smart about it and keep
Yeah.
yourself in decent shape.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, I get a little back pain sometimes, a little shoulder pain, but those are the big hazards or anything where you're using your body like
Anywhere
that.
you're moving material,
Those tools will hurt you.
they will. And the problem with the young man is we all think we're strong and immortal, and yeah, I can pick that up, and you can do that for a while, and then that back pain grows on you.
Yep.
So some of that's within your control.
Yep.
You're dealing with electricity.
It's not as big of a deal with welding as most people think.
Right.
It's 18 volts.
Right.
You'll get hit with it eventually. It'll go down your arm or something.
Little tingle.
It'll wake you up.
Yeah. Wet gloves, right?
Yeah, it'll wake you up, but it's not a terrible
Yeah.
risk. The heat, the fire is more.
And the smoke.
Yeah. And then if you get into aluminum, stainless, brass,
Yeah.
those fumes are nasty.
Toxic
So
fumes.
now we're talking about you need the right equipment and PPE and you need to-
ventilation
you
and-
need to be
and-
smart about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that You're running an arc, and it looks like the danger is the arc. It's not. The danger is the fumes.
Yeah.
Right. And protect your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And when boys come into my shop to blacksmith, everybody likes to blacksmith. The first thing I tell them is, look, you're going to get burned here today. And if it's smaller than a dime, we don't want to hear about it. Yep. And if it's bigger than a dime, go soak your hand in the slack tub and keep working.
Yeah.
Right?
You'll be okay.
There's some mental toughness that you can grow.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so you brought me some cool swag. This is the stuff that you sell, and these are kits out of, you said 14 gauge and 12 gauge?
Yeah, these generally 14, some years are 12, because that's just what I had laying on hand before I left to come up here.
And these are shop organizing kits mostly?
These ones are, yeah. We have a whole range, fire pits, decorative stuff, tools, but I thought that this would be the thing for you.
This suits my shop, yeah. But you also make flowers and leaves and decorative stuff that people can exercise their crafting instinct. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the fire pits. How big are they?
I mean, our tallest one's 7 foot tall.
7 foot tall.
It comes in 3 flat rate boxes. Post office hates me. Most of them are, 24 to 36 inches wide, about same tall.
Wow.
All sorts of little, as simple as a bowl, complicated things with a chimney, a whole bunch of different options.
Cool.
Based on what you want to do with it.
So, but these things fold, it's like origami in steel, right?
Mm-hmm. They're just like old model kits where, you have to break some of the parts off. These would be your little diagonals that would go under there. And then that guy would go that way. And then that'll mount to your wall, and you can just set your grinders right in there. The offsets are so the handle of the grinder doesn't hit the one next to it.
Okay, the offset, boom, boom, boom. And then these are little knee braces.
Yeah, they can go right in there.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't come off the wall.
Yeah.
Wow, and so it's for, you make them for all the different cordless platforms, right?
Yeah, well, this grinder rack's universal, but then we have tool mounts and battery mounts, and we have them for every brand, and if I don't have your brand, I will build it for you.
Wow.
And
all right,
this is for the tool.
Okay, where's the battery? Okay, I'm feeling better.
Where'd they go? There's the batteries.
Okay, that folds out.
So you could pop those apart. We got a little instructional video for all of them too. So.
And that is found on 42 Fab or on your website.
Yeah, Weld It Yourself Kits.
WeldItYourselfKits.com.
Come on.
We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So you could screw that to your wall, slide your battery in, it'll hold it.
Okay, look at that.
Yeah.
You put the angle you want, you screw it to the wall, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Put a couple tack welds in there to hold that angle.
So how did you know I needed this?
Told me you're a Makita guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody needs them.
Therefore, I need it.
I'm not going to knock the plastic ones that are out there. They're great for certain applications.
Yeah, but they're not steel.
I beat my stuff up. So every one of those I've got, I've broke off the wall eventually.
So all this stuff is related to tool organization and storage.
Yeah, same sort of thing. We got the short and long version of our tool mounts. It'll just hold your tool up against the wall like that.
Slick.
Same thing, every brand. And there's even a vertical version, which is just this with an added plate. So, if you have your saws or any of the bigger tools, you can mount them that way.
Bam.
Yeah.
Okay. And he mentioned you can screw those to plywood if you're a French cleat guy and move them around, or one spot if you always want to know what's up.
Yeah. I got half of mine welded to posts.
Yeah.
So.
And this happened because of the drops. You had sheets left over, and you thought, I'm gonna start making stuff.
Yeah.
Smart.
Might as well use the material up.
Might as well use the material.
And now we're buying sheets just to make them. But
wow.
Good.
So these are cool. I mean, a lot of guys who want to be in the fabricating business never come up with a product line. They're stuck making custom one-off things for people who come in with orders. Yeah. And it's hard to maximize scale there, right?
You got a lot of margin.
You got margin, but no scale, no repeatability.
There's only one of you, and you can only do that so many times.
That's what limited me as a contractor. I always wanted to do something different,
Yeah.
right? So for a person who's thinking that they want to be in business, maybe you have ideas you want to make stuff. Talk to us about the hidden costs nobody thinks about and the difference between making and being a businessman.
Yeah. So if you're running your own shop, first off, just rent.
Yeah.
Rent, bills, commercial bills are more expensive than your home electricity is going to be. Insurance is going to be a huge one, and as you get into bigger jobs for bigger clients, which are the ones you want because there's more budget there, they're not going to hire you without insurance.
That's right.
The first thing that happens is I get sent an insurance form, a vendor form, and they want a W-9 from me.
Yep. Taxpayer identification numbers, on and on and
yeah.
on.
And so I carry 2 different $1 million policies that will cover me, and that gets me into everything I need to do for what I do right now. And at other times we've had more. You may need licenses. When we did a lot more sign work, I needed licenses, and at one point had a sign contractor's license for 8 different municipalities.
And that costs money.
It's a tax by everything but name.
And it sucks the life out of you.
It does.
You have to have an interest in these things or you burn out, right?
Yeah, we charge about $1,000 more for a sign in the city than we do outside of city limits.
Okay, so the takeaway for young people is, if you don't like the exercise of balancing a checkbook, now I know nobody does that anymore. Nate tells me that every time but you still have to be able to make entries. You still have to be able to run TurboTax or QuickBooks or whatever you're using.
And you got to be able to know your numbers, because if somebody asks you to look at something, they want a ballpark, and you better be 10%.
Yeah, that's right. You better hip shoot it and be close to a hit.
So if you're not good at your numbers, you are going to risk overshooting and offending the customer, or undershooting and offending your wallet. So.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's smarter to just sit on the couch and read a good book than it is to take a job with no money in it and wear yourself and your tools out and risk your reputation, and at the end of the day be broken bitter.
Yeah.
Right? So that's part of the evaluation you've got to do. At this point, a niche welder's job that's going to pay you $120,000 a year in that niche is better than fighting business if you're not programmed to do business.
Yeah. Or you go do that for a year or two. If I was going to do it again, that's what I would have done. When I did that for a year or two, and just put as much money away as I could.
Yeah, just bank it.
Because I spent 3.5 years broke when I started this business.
Yeah, just barely getting to it.
All my money was going into tools so I could do the next bigger job.
Yeah.
And eventually you have all the tools and you start to do all right.
You start to do all right. Yeah, that's good. So this is great information. So to wrap this up, you're not working as an engineer.
I'm not.
You're not stuck behind a desk.
I'm not.
You're not inspecting on nuclear reactors.
I'm not.
But you're happy running a small fabricating business, making really cool little things out of sheet metal.
I like what I do. I like the size we are. I don't have to manage that many people. I'm happy with it, and it's paying the bills. So
it's a wise man who knows when he's well off. And so the sooner you can get wise, the sooner you'll recognize when you're well off. But I got to tell you, Richard, I appreciate you coming down here.
Yeah.
I appreciate Richard's part of the Essential Craftsman Academy. I didn't tell him that.
Yeah, there for as many of the live streams as I can make. It's a great time to hang out and just learn something.
And
or
sometimes
throw
there's
your
good
2 cents in.
information. Yeah. So if you're interested in being part of the Academy, being part of that community, check it out, essentialcraftsman.com. It costs less than a subscription to Netflix. And frankly, I think there's a lot more high-value information there. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm taking a chance, right? But anyhow, we'd be glad and happy to welcome you in there and answer any questions you've got moving forward. We have Zoom meetings twice a month. We've got a blacksmithing course. We've got, there's stuff. Check it out. I think you'll like it. But in the meantime, you know more about welding and fabrication now than you did 30 minutes ago. Choose carefully. Just because you choose one trade now doesn't mean you have to ride that horse clear to the end of the trail. But it does mean that you're going to set yourself up with some skills that are going to do you good, and probably the people around you good also. Is that fair?
Yeah, something to fall back on.
Something to fall back on. And at one time or another, everybody has to fall back on something, right? Anyway, as always, thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.